South Africa is once again grappling with the shadow of scandal, and this time it strikes closer to the heart of power than ever before. The arrest of President Cyril Ramaphosa's nephew in connection with the staggering R325 million corruption case has shaken public confidence and raised difficult questions about trust, accountability, and the moral standing of the nation's leader. For years, Ramaphosa has styled himself as the reformist within the African National Congress, ANC, a leader committed to transparency, good governance, and the restoration of integrity after years of state capture and corruption. But the explosive arrest of a close family member has placed that reputation under siege. The South African public, already weary of broken promises and government scandals, is now asking, can Ramaphosa truly claim to be a beacon of accountability when his own household appears tainted by corruption? The public reaction has been swift and intense. Social media platforms erupted with commentary as news of the arrest spread, with hashtags questioning Ramaphosa's credibility trending nationwide. Ordinary citizens voiced anger and frustration, pointing out that the scandal confirms their long-held suspicions that corruption has seeped into every layer of the political elite. Some accused the president of turning a blind eye, while others suggested his silence in the early days of the scandal was evidence of complicity. Trust is the currency of leadership, and right now Ramaphosa's account is running dry, remarked one Johannesburg resident in a radio call-in show, echoing the sentiment of many South Africans. Another caller put it more bluntly, if the president can't keep his own family clean, how can he clean the government? Opposition parties have seized the moment to intensify their attacks. Leaders of the Democratic Alliance, DA, and Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, have both demanded answers, with some calling for an independent inquiry into whether the president had prior knowledge of his nephew's dealings. They argue that this scandal is more than a family matter. It strikes at the very heart of governance, ethics, and the people's faith in their president. Political analysts note that while Ramaphosa himself is not directly implicated, the scandal carries devastating optics. His carefully cultivated image as an anti-corruption crusader is now colliding with the reality of family entanglement. This duality, public promises of reform on one hand and the shadow of scandal on the other, has created a leadership crisis that cannot easily be brushed aside. Civil society groups, meanwhile, have amplified calls for transparency. Activists argue that the scandal must be treated as a national concern, not a private family affair. They warn that failure to address it decisively will further erode trust in democratic institutions already strained by service delivery failures, economic stagnation, and rising inequality. Ramaphosa, for his part, has tried to calm the storm. In a recent address, he stressed that South Africa is a nation governed by the rule of law, and that justice must take its course without interference. He emphasized that no one, not even family members of the president, should be exempt from accountability. While his words were measured, critics argue that they lack the forceful conviction required to reassure a public that feels betrayed. The scandal has become more than a legal matter. It is now a test of leadership. How Ramaphosa manages this crisis could determine not only his political legacy but also the ANC's credibility ahead of future elections. If he acts too slowly or appears indecisive, he risks being branded as weak and hypocritical. If he moves decisively, even at the expense of family ties, he may salvage some of the trust that has been lost. For the millions of South Africans watching from the sidelines, the core question remains, is their president truly committed to the fight against corruption, or is he yet another leader unable to rise above the compromises of power and personal loyalty? In a country that has endured decades of broken promises, the arrest of Ramaphosa's nephew is more than a family tragedy. It is a breaking point in the fragile contract of trust between the governed and their leader. Whether Ramaphosa can repair that trust, or whether the scandal cements a legacy of doubt, will unfold in the coming weeks as the nation waits for answers.